B1 family, welcome to Blacklogic. Today we're going to break down the Corporate Tax Act. This is a way that the federal government may be overreaching itself to create a bigger government to dive into those sneaky sort of tax codes that they've used as shells in order to protect corporate companies the way they avoid taxes. And this is very important because we noticed when Donald Trump was in office on his first term, and it looks likely that he's going to be president again. So he may try to get in office and reverse this act because this is going to dive into corporate America's shell companies and start to reveal not only the taxes they kind of use tax harvesting using a tax code within a gray area. That's very significant. There's billions and billions of dollars that these companies like Amazon, Google, it really doesn't matter, family, but they're using the tax code. All of this is legal, by the way. But the Corporate Tax Act is going to be the way that the federal government is going to use big government in order to come in and tax these companies who've been using shell companies and multiple LLCs and holding companies to avoid taxes. This is one of the major reasons why America is $34 trillion in debt, is because corporate America is not paying its fair share of taxes. And when Republicans come in office, and again, I'm apolitical, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, I'm just giving you the truth here. This is how they use excuses in order to say that without a lot of these large corporate tax cuts, America wouldn't have the amount of jobs that they have today. But we're going to get into it. We're going to break down the Corporate Tax Act because whether you're a small business owner or a large business owner, this may be significant for you. Now, when this first came on the scene, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this particular video.
Right now, American companies are taxed at one of the highest rates anywhere in the world.
Well, that's not quite accurate. Yes, the top statutory nominal corporate income tax rate of 35% is the third highest in the world. But in reality, most corporations don't pay anywhere close to the statutory rate. Less than zero. Wow, that's a really onerous tax. According to a May 2016 GAO report, large corporations paid an average of about 14% of their profits in federal income taxes from 2008 to 2012. Not 35%, but 14%, a significant difference. Legislation will prevent profitable corporations from sheltering profits in the Cayman Islands and other tax havens to avoid paying U.S. taxes.
Now, this is significant, family, because hold on, give me a second. Give me a second here. That's very significant because corporate America has been avoiding taxes for quite some time, and they're showing a lot of the things that corporate America has been getting away with and been shelling and sending money to offshore accounts. From the inception of corporate tax accounts in the first place. But when we look at this, we have to understand the full ramification of this. Fair use, fair use. So let's get right into this, family, because I think this is very significant for you, especially those of you who will be creating businesses in 2024, even like myself. Now, one of the main things, give me a second here, I'm getting a lot of feedback. One of the main things is America forming a kleptocracy. Kleptocracy. And basically, a kleptocracy is a government where corrupt leaders use political power to steal the wealth of the people that they govern. The word kleptocracy, I know, comes from some Greek word that means thief and or rule. And it's very significant for you business owners or for those of you who will be forming businesses, because the Corporate Transparency Act, believe it or not, is going to be a game changer in business. It's kind of like the bulldozer against corrupt actors hiding behind anonymous companies, right? The Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen, she's trying to unmask the shell corporation. And I believe it's one of the most single significant things that they could do to make our financial system inhospitable to corrupt actors. But again, this is big government, okay? This is big government. This is forming a larger, more overseeing, hand in your business sort of government. And believe me, they mean business when it comes to the CTA, because they first enacted this in 2021. The Corporate Tax Act mandates companies to spill the beans on their beneficial owners, storing the info in a secure database, supposedly, starting January 1st of next year of 2024. Companies doing business in the United States must report, making a bold stride in the fight against corruption, drug trafficking, and even terrorism. Now, the FinCEN, which means the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, supposedly is kind of like the guard dogs of this. They're on the front lines. They're not just sitting back. They're educating, engaging, and simplifying reports. And if you guys want to check that out, you might want to go to www.fincen.gov to get more information on that, especially if you guys are forming LLCs, S Corps, etc. But it doesn't stop there, because the Treasury is tightening the screws on corrupt practices, and even in real estate. The Residential Real Estate Geographic Targeting Order, also known as the GTO, is a program, and also some people is counted as a beacon of transparency. So in 2024, a proposed rule aims to shed light on the residential real estate sector, bringing greater transparency. See, investment advisors, I really want you guys to watch out, because the Treasury is re-examining the 2015 NIM, proposing AMN requirements to keep the financial system clean from ill-gotten gains. It's a bold move to address the risks associated with this sector. The private sector is not left out either. The Treasury is arming financial institutions to combat corruption and kleptocracy. FinCEN publications are a gold mine of information, guiding institutions in identifying and disrupting suspicious transactions. Now, let's talk about some of the consequences here, because the Treasury's financial sanctions are the hammers coming down hard. Over 300 individuals or entities across 30 countries, more than a dozen different sanctions authorities. This is accountability in action. This is kind of what the American people were asking for, those outside of corporate America, those outside who were possibly trying to form small businesses. And when I mean small businesses, family, there's some number out there. I think any business under 500 or 300 personnel. So if you are a self-proprietorship, or you have a two-partner membership of LLC, S Corp, etc. Now, what's significant to this, Russia's not off the hook, because even with the war in Ukraine, okay, because in response to the invasion of Ukraine, the Treasury is freezing assets, blocking billions, and going after Russian corruptions. The Repo Task Force is making sure corrupt elites feel the heat globally. This is not just an America Corporate Tax Act. This is an international Corporate Tax Act with any organization, any country that's doing business with America. Now, internationally, the Treasury is at the forefront. They're shaping global standards at the Financial Action Task Force, focusing on transparency, asset recovery, and countering corruption. They're even pushed the FATF to focus on golden passports and compliance assessments for non-financial businesses. The Treasury is not just fighting corruption on home turf, they're spreading the message globally, collaborating with foreign governments, addressing deficiencies, sharing intel, and strengthening anti-corruption efforts regionally. This is not just policy, it's war on corruption, supposedly. The Treasury Department is on the front line and they're not backing down, okay? They're not backing down. A lot of people who own businesses are complaining that the federal government is coming in using big government to oversee every single transaction that any business entity, whether you're a self-proprietorship, multi-member LLC, S corporation, a C corporation, a holding company, they're diving into business. They're diving into all the business, everyone trying to essentially write off their taxes, hide their taxes, using tax shell companies, using tax harvesting methods. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, enhancing corporate tax transparency. The department has prioritized efforts to implement the Corporate Tax Act to prevent corrupt and other actors from laundering illicit funds to anonymous companies in the United States. This effort will equip law enforcement and other partners with the information they need to disrupt financial anonymity that enables crimes such as corruption, drug trafficking, and terrorism. As Secretary of Treasury Janet Yellen has noted, unmasking shell corporations is the single most significant thing we can do to make our financial system inhospitable to corrupt actors. Enacted by Congress back in 2021, the CTA requires many companies formed or operating in the United States to report information about their financial owners to Treasury Financial Crimes Enforcement. What it seems to me, family, is that what they're going to do, there's a couple states out there that you guys can form anonymous LLCs. I think one of them is Delaware, and I think another one is Wyoming. So a lot of people who structure their businesses, they not only structure their business in a way where they can stay anonymous, right? They have these layers of protections. They form an LLC. They put the LLC in a holding company, put the holding company into a trust, and all of these things are anonymous. And this is the way they can kind of shed taxes or hide taxes or not pay their taxes. And currently, all of this is legal. So they can come out with this Corporate Tax Act and not fix the real problem. They have to fix the tax code. Or I won't say fix, that means that it's broken. And anyone in business say the tax code is not broken. We're broken, meaning that we have to go inside the tax code and use it as our benefit. So some believe that this Corporate Tax Act is going to shield the government by alleviating our companies in open space in order to take more money from corporate America. Now, a lot of you, when Donald Trump was in office, was complaining about him only paying $700 in taxes for over 3 years. Family, if you notice, Donald Trump is not on trial for tax evasion. He's not, right? He's on trial for January 6th. People don't like him. He's unpopular. And him overinflating the value of his properties. But Donald Trump was definitely against this. Now, I had a little video up earlier, but I stopped playing some, really weird stuff. But I want to make you guys aware that this is going to trickle down to small businesses as well. And it's very important that you guys know this information, okay? Now, I may play that video. I know a lot of you guys coming in late here. I might play that video again of what Bernie Sanders was talking about, how corporate companies were avoiding taxes. And I named a couple of those companies, but everybody does it because it's legal. I don't want you to think because of in the tone in which I'm speaking that those things are illegal. They're not. Everybody does it. As a matter of fact, people form LLCs who don't even run real companies, right? They just form LLCs so they can use different companies for personal use, right? I'm buying this for my business. I'm buying a computer desk, right? You buy a computer desk because maybe you want it in your home. Well, I'm buying a couch. I'm buying a bed. Oh, why are you buying a bed? We have a restroom, and I don't mean like a bathroom, but a restroom where people can lay down for a couple of hours within your home, right? Because you're using a certain part of your home as office space, and you can write those things off. Now, when I'm focusing on the Corporate Tax Act, is to prevent shell companies from hiding illicit funds. But I believe it's going to go much deeper than that, because everyday people like you and I may form an LLC, and we may buy personal and even get a business card inside of your NAV account. Okay, NAV account is the way that you can increase your business credit score. That way you can borrow more money when it comes to the business side of things, to whatever your business may need, right? You need money, buy a house, that's personal use, etc., etc. But there are also a business credit score that you guys can use in order to have business credit up to, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, whatever your assets are at the time. But the Corporate Tax Act, it emphasizes its impact by equipping the law enforcement to fight crimes like like corruption, drug trafficking, and terrorism. But the thing about this is they're going to start going after big business, small business, and even people who may have self-proprietorship that is grossing over $250,000, $500,000. So everybody, believe me, is on notice with this. It really doesn't matter if you have a business entity of any kind. You want to familiarize yourself with the Corporate Tax Act, because I'm looking at something here. Financial sanctions, over 300 designations across 30 countries for corrupt and kleptocracy. Kleptocracy is basically the government charging people to run businesses, even more so what they're doing. Because, the kleptocracy is a government where corrupt leaders use political power to steal the wealth of the people that they govern. But the government is countersuing corporate America by saying, you guys have created a corporate kleptocracy where you are stealing money from the government, but by not paying your fair share of taxes. So this has to do with embezzling or misappropriating government funds or corporate funds, using public and private institutions to steal public or private funds for their own private gain, increasing the personal wealth of government officials or corporate officials. So this is going to be a constant fight going back and forth. But again, it's already been passed. It will be enacted. It will go live January 1st of 2024. So if you guys are not aware of the Corporate Tax Act, you really need to start speaking to your accountants, your CPAs, and become familiar with yourself. Because a lot of you in 2024, you have your finances in order, you're going out, you're starting businesses, and this is very, very important to us all. It says here that the Collaboration Financial Action Task Force, okay, that's FATF, I mentioned that earlier, to enhance global anti-corruption standards, increase foreign engagement on corrupt issues, sharing information, and coordinating investigations. Because when people form their businesses, their LLCs, their S corporations, their C corporations, their holding companies, what they tend to do is create offshore accounts, right? Any profits that they're essentially profiting, any profits they actually make with their yearly revenue, they shave off a great percentage and send it to offshore accounts. And I don't just mean your large corporations. I'm talking about your small business owners. I know people, the business only have two people, okay? They only have a multi-member LLC, but they still have offshore accounts because they're grossing anywhere from over $500,000 a year. And you can only imagine the amount of taxes that they will have to pay. Now, the video that I showed earlier, Bernie Sanders was revealing that most corporate companies are only paying 14% off the profit that they make yearly, where they supposedly by law, supposed to be paying 35% in taxes. Let me see if I can if I can get that up for you guys, because it's very, very significant that you understand the gravity of this and how this may be very, very important for you guys who will be forming businesses, okay? That will be performing business, because A lot of people wasn't paying attention to this. Even I really wasn't paying attention to this, but I heard about it a couple of years ago. And I think it's very significant for you guys to understand the gravity of this, because this is going to raise taxes. And anytime, and this is what I noticed about politics. When Democrats are in office, they want everybody, not just corporate America, but even the middle class, right? Even the middle class to a certain extent, they kind of made that threshold over $250,000. But anyone in the middle class, high class, and rich, plus corporate America, big business, small business, to pay more in taxes. Because as you notice, we're sending billions of dollars to other countries, okay? Billions of dollars to other countries. I'm trying to pop up this video I had up early for you guys, so you guys can see the significance here, okay? See, this is gonna give me 1 second. I had it up, it went to another video here, but Bernie Sanders was really calling out this a couple of years ago, and nobody really liked it who was in business. Everybody, and that's why Bernie Sanders, believe me, that's why he didn't become president. Joe Biden, he left this one alone. He left this one alone because he would not get elected if this was going to pass. Okay, I'm trying to find the Facebook, because it was very quick, but it was very, very informative. Okay, very, very informative. Let me see if I can find this for you guys. I may not be able to find this in time, but nonetheless, if you guys start from the beginning of this video, I did show it. Okay, I did show it, and I want you guys to be very, very aware of the significance of this bill. Let me try one more thing here. Give me a second. Okay, give me a second. Here we go. I think I found it. Here we go.
Now, American companies are taxed at one of the highest rates anywhere in the world.
Well, that's not quite accurate. Yes, the top statutory nominal corporate income tax rate of 35% is the third highest in the world. But in reality, most corporations don't pay anywhere close to the statutory rate. Less than zero. Wow, that's a really onerous tax. According to a May 2016 GAO report, large corporations paid an average of about 14% of their profits in federal income taxes from 2008 to 2012. Not 35%, but 14%, a significant difference. Legislation will prevent profitable corporations from sheltering profits in the Cayman Islands and other tax havens to avoid paying U.S. taxes.
I want you guys to become familiar with that tax act, guys. For you guys who will be starting your LLCs, your S corporations, your multi-member, your self-proprietorships, please become very familiar with the Corporate Tax Act starting in January 1st of 2024. And this is significant for me because I killed one of my LLCs this year, and I was going to revamp or start a new LLC in 2024. So this is going to be significant for me as well as you. But they have other things on the rising, like the beneficial ownership information. And this is to stop those people who hide behind all sorts of UX tax codes, business entity laws and bills to reveal who are the owners of these organizations, of these financial accounts. And this is where corporate America is going to really fight back against, because they have a lot of private investors that are non-American. Believe it or not, there are a lot of oligarchs. There are a lot of people throughout Europe, people throughout the Western world who actually invest and are benefactors of a lot of American companies who are just not paying their fair share when it comes to international corporate tax law. And this is the way that the federal government is trying to fight back of all these millions and billions of dollars of people who are making off America who are not paying their fair share. But I'm gonna take it a step further. Now, even though this is kind of not the gist of the corporate tax act, I really think it's going to affect small businesses as well as middle class Americans as well. I really do think it's going to affect us. Now, if anybody knows the information when Republicans and Democrats are in office, what is the significant difference in the tax rate? Do Republicans tend to cut taxes more for the middle class, keep them the same, or increase taxes for the middle class? Then the same goes for the Democrats. What usually occurs? Now, I don't have that information on hand, but I can tell you this. It seems to be when Democrats are in office, the national debt increases significantly more than when the Republicans are in office. Also, unemployment goes up when Democrats are in office, and unemployment goes down when Republicans are in office. Now, a lot of you business owners, I know, regardless of who the person is, because you're simply thinking about the bottom line. You think about your money. You think about revenue. You think about not paying an extremely large amount in taxes. So you don't really care who the Republican is, as long as they're going to come in and say, I'm going to cut taxes for small businesses. I'm going to cut taxes for corporate America so it can make and create more jobs. So you guys are automatically going to vote Republican. A lot of you are not getting into this guy's a white supremacist, that guy's a white supremacist, telling you this thing about the bottom line. But even in the Black space and Black empowerment space, we have to really look at what's on the table for us as a collective. Nothing. Unless you are a business owner and you're trying to grow your business and not pay a lot of taxes. This is going to be very significant for you. So again, this was one of those videos. I didn't want to go too detailed into things of this matter, breaking it down to a very, governance level. But I just wanted to inform you what's going to occur on January 1st of 2024, the Corporate Tax Act that is supposedly, every time I read this, okay, and I'm just going to show you a quick synopsis of the Corporate Tax Act with Google, kind of just pops up here. And this is what it's all about, okay? It requires many companies formed or operate in the United States, or again, does business with the United States, to report information about their beneficial owners to Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, which will store the sensitive information in a secure, confidential database, okay? It goes on and states here, creates new reporting obligation for a wide range of entities formed in the United States, requires reporting companies to disclose information to the U.S. Treasury about their owners and persons who exercise controls, establishes tight reporting deadlines for entities formed after January 1st. And everybody understands what this is. This is George Orwell's Big Brother. Big Brother is now watching every single thing that corporate America is doing. So the question is this: is it good for us or is it good for them? That's the question I have for you.